Hi, Paul from Trekitt. I'm Murphy from Trekitt. Today we're coming to talk about some tents. So we're upstairs at our shop in Hereford. This is our new equipment room. We've created this space specifically for our customers to come try tents, to pitch them, to get inside them, get a really good feel for what the tent is like before making a purchase. So today we're going to talk about the MSR Hubba Hubba NX. So the Hubba range of tents from MSR are designed to be lightweight, backpacking and trekking tents. They're using really good quality poles, fly sheets and ground sheets to keep the weight to a minimum, but to give you a good durable tent. So MSR state this tent is packed weight at 1.7 kilos, that's what they put in their literature. So to you, from us, with everything, all labels, all packaging, it is indeed 1.7 kilos or 3.7 pounds. As you can see, pack size is very, very good. It's nice and light, packs down nice and small. I'll just grab my trusty Nalgene bottle and that'll give you an idea of the pack size. It's about twice the length of a Nalgene bottle and about twice the width. The really nice thing about these bags is that they're not a tube style stuff sack, they're like a duffel style, so you've got a great big opening. You've got two compression straps and then a draw cord here, slacken that off and the whole thing opens up really nicely, makes it really easy to get the tent in and out. Okay, so this tent uses what we call a unified pole system. So all the poles, as you can see, are all joined together, so you can't lose any of these sections, which makes pitching really easy. So lay the ground sheet out, the inner tent out, ground sheet down, lay the poles on the top, and in the corner of the ground sheet here, you've got these aluminium adjusters with a hole in, and that's where the end of the poles go in. Pop that in, grab the other end, so you can do this on your own, it's obviously easier with two. And then you've got similar aluminium grommets at the top to put the top section in, the cross pole. Helpful to put a bit of tension on this, otherwise the fly sheet, the inner tent could just drop off. Pull that out. And then you've got a series of plastic clips, just clip on. So there you have it, that's the inner tent. Now obviously this is an inner pitch first tent. So if it's raining hard, you've got to get this done quickly and get the fly sheet thrown over. Loads of ventilation panels on the inner tent. These are all mesh panels, the darker panels here, so you get loads of ventilation. And the beauty of it being an inner pitch tent first is you get great tension and vertical height on the inner walls of the tent, so you don't get that sort of sagginess that you get with fly sheet pitch tents. So the inside of the tent is nice and roomy. Now if you want to go ultra lightweight and you know it's going to be really good weather like it is today, it's really hot and sunny outside, you could just take this and sleep in there as a bug shelter, and that will reduce the tent, the weight of the tent dramatically. Okay, so let's move on. You can see that there are two doors, one either side, zip doors, one either side, and you can also see that this is self-standing, so if you're not happy with the pitch, you can move it around, stick it somewhere else. You can even do that when the fly sheet's attached before you finally peg it into position. These doors roll away to the side, like so. Little toggle through a loop there. And if I just sit in here, you get an idea. There you go, I'm sat up, I'm 6'3", there's loads of space above my head, nice and airy and light in here. And then if I lie down, feet to the end, got my shoes on, a bit naughty. I've got plenty of room at the head as well, and a room for one more in here. So this is a spacious two-man tent. You usually get two people in here of around 6 foot. Okay, let's pop the fly sheet on. So we've got the inner pitch, it's freestanding, you can move that around. To make this completely watertight now we need to get the fly sheet on. Now the thing to look out for before you pitch the fly sheet is you've got 4 attachment points are the end of the poles on the corners of the ground sheet. And at this end, the webbing is grey, and at that end, the webbing attachments are red. And that matches up with the webbing points on the fly sheet. So make sure you've got the grey ones and the red ones at the right end of the tent. Simply throw it over. Get it somewhere in the middle. You can tell it's in the middle because we can see the seam on the top of the tent here is in a cross shape, and that corresponds with the cross of the poles inside. And simply pull the fly sheet down and match these webbing loops to the ones at the bottom. You've got a little aluminium eyelet, and that goes over the end of the pole, like so. So just work your way round. So once you've got the 4 corners done, you want to reach inside, and inside there's inside the fly sheet, inside the door, there's 2 more little aluminium grommets which fit over the end of that central pole on this side and one this side. That just tensions the fly across the top of the tent. And there you have it. At this point, the tent is still freestanding, so you can move it around to find the perfect pitch. Once you're happy with that, you can peg out the 2 vestibule areas. Okay, so just pitch out the vestibule area at the front, or the back, depends which way you want to get in. On all these pegging points, you've got adjustable webbing straps, so you can tension the fly sheet, get it nice and tight, and you get 2 guying points at this top section here, so you can peg this down. So this is a true 3-season performance tent. It'll cope with some pretty severe weather. Okay, let's have a look inside. Okay, so here it is fully pitched. We've got it all pegged out. Another thing to consider when you're pitching the tent is how the air is going to move through the tent, because condensation is inevitable. It's physics. Warm air from our breath and our sweat gathers inside the tent, and at night when the air cools outside, cold air and warm air meet inside the tent and it condenses. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. It's inevitable, but you can reduce it to make your night more comfortable. And the best way to do that is to ensure you get plenty of airflow through the tent. These doors have got double zips on, so you can unzip these to get plenty of air going through. And also the mesh section, which you saw earlier inside the tent, just allows that air to come through. And you'll probably also notice that there's quite a gap between the fly sheet and the floor, and that's also to encourage airflow. Now don't worry about water blowing in through here if it's really windy and raining hard, because the ground sheet is a bathtub ground sheet, comes up higher, well, you won't get any water in the tent. So just make sure you pitch the vestibules either end into the airflow and the wind, and that'll help to reduce the condensation. To keep the condensation down, there's also vents either side of the tent. There's a little Velcro closure on here, so if it's really blowy and windy and rainy, you can close that right down with the Velcro. Or if you want to get even more airflow, you can open that up. And a neat little trick you can do to keep that open is you can run the guy line through that webbing loop, peg it out, and that will keep the vent nicely open. Okay, so this is the main entrance to the tent. There's your main zip. And what you don't want, if you've got the door open, is any moisture running off the fly sheet and dripping down into the vestibule of the tent. So MSR have created this really clever little rain gutter. It's just an additional piece of fabric which sits here, so any water running down off the fly sheet hits this and runs down out of the way, so it's not dripping down inside the tent. Okay, so you've got a 2-way zip on this door. We've got a puller at the bottom here and a puller at the top. Obviously, top open up for ventilation. Unzip it from the bottom. Notice how freely that runs, because this is slightly stiffened, so it just keeps the fabric out of the way of the zip. You roll this up. There's a toggle here, loop here. Toggle that out of the way so you can get in. So you've got a good sized vestibule here. You can put your boots in here, your packs, keep them out of the inner tent. Bearing in mind this is designed primarily for lightweight backpacking, so you're not going to have a huge amount of kit. And you could also, there's room in here to cook with a stove, provided you're very careful. If it's really tipping down with rain, you're just desperate for a brew. So the inner door, double zip again, so you can unzip this right to the top, unzip it right the way around, roll it back, secure it with a hook and the loop, And that gives you stacks of space on the inside to get in. So it's a nice big doorway. And again, I'm 6'3". I can sit up in here really comfortably. Got my little stove going, have a cup of coffee, sit here, watch the sunset. Perfect. Another great feature, if you really want a room with a view, you want to admire the sunset when you're top of the mountain, simply attach this guy line from the top to your pegging point, unhook the fly sheet, and you can continue to roll that right back. And there's another little toggle and loop right over on this side. So you can get in. Fantastic view. Loads of space, loads of ventilation. And again, if it's a dry night, you know it's not going to rain, you can simply zip up the inner tent and sleep with this door open, and that way you're going to keep that condensation to an absolute minimum. So this is a two-man tent, and the beauty of it is you've got a double entrance. So this door configuration is the same both sides. So each person has got their own entrance, they've got their own storage area, and you keep your stuff separate. And obviously it means that when you're getting in and out of the tent, you're not clambering over each other and squashing each other just to get out. So Harry's going to come round and get in the other side, and we'll show you what we mean. So there you go. You've got two 6-foot-plus guys in this tent, plenty of room to sleep side by side. We've got a Thermarest Trail Pro Large in here, and we've got a Sinmat 7 medium in here. So those are good sized sleeping mats, proper sized mats, and there's plenty of room to sleep side by side. Okay, so we're inside the tent, and in here you get 4 webbing loops, hanging loops, so you can hang up your lantern in here. Here's my black diamond moji, turn that on, and I'm ready for my bedtime story. Okay, so you've got the 4 hanging loops inside, so not only can you hang your lantern from there, you can thread some accessory cord through here and just create a hanging line, so you can attach all sorts of bits and pieces here, keep them secure, keep them off the floor, keep them safe. What you can do is you can pitch it fly sheet only for that ultimate lightweight shelter if you're really keeping things to an absolute minimum. So I'm just going to take the inner down, and then I'll show you how that works. There you have it. Lightweight shelter that just needs pegging out. Again, freestanding. Peg out the front and the back. Get your sleep mat in there, and that's your ultimate lightweight shelter. Okay, so here's our ultra lightweight shelter, just using the fly sheet and the poles. You obviously still need some pegs, but in this configuration it weighs only 0.5 kilos. Pretty lightweight. Once you get to the strike your tent, take the fly sheet off, take the poles off the inner tent, and you're left with the poles like this. The best thing to do is to start at one end and just gently separate the poles, pull them out with the grommets here. And then to fold the tent up, the best thing to do is to lay it down, ground sheet down. And you get an idea of whether you've got this about the right size by grabbing the stuff sack and just placing that on. You can see I've just got that a little bit wide. And your pegs. Pop it into the duffel. This is so easy to get in because of that nice big opening. Now if you're in a real hurry, if it's tipping down rain, you can just literally stuff it in like a stuffed sack, pop the poles and the pegs on the top, and away you go. Fold over the waterproof protective cover there, pull up the draw cord, tighten up your straps, and there you are, MSR Hubba, neatly packed away, ready for your next camping trip.